Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HLTV recap show presented by GGBet. My name is Moses. I'm going to be with you each and every night of the PGL Antwerp Major at this recap show, making sure you guys don't miss a single thing. We're going to be covering all the highlights, all the storylines, all the matches, and making sure that even if you got busy, you know exactly what happened each and every day of the major. Now, a quick word very briefly from our sponsor, GGBet. As you can see here, there's going to be a bonus link, a bonus in the description, a link in the description for an up to 250% bonus. The closer we get towards those grand finals of the PGL Major, you can also use code HLTV for first bet insurance. Make sure you're please gambling responsibly. Now, let's get into it. Let's take a look at the schedule for the Challenger stage, the opening Swiss system stage. We got super teams like G2, Vitality, and Astralis. They're all trying to breeze through this Challenger stage, while Upstart ENCE is on a hot streak coming into the event. A couple of NA teams, Complexity and Team Liquid in there. They're trying to prove that there's still a little bit of life in the region. They had a tough task today. And already, in the first game, we got people in the history books. We got ZywOo already logging his name. This guy was a beast in this matchup. It was a huge victory for Vitality. ZywOo would add his name to the history books by not dying a single time throughout the 17 rounds of this game. He's only the 8th player in history to do that, and obviously probably the first to do it at the major. Also, what a big time game for that kind of a performance. He actually only took 90 total damage across the entire match. He never got touched. Complexity could not find him. Easy 16-1 victory for Vitality over Complexity to start their group stage in the Swiss system. Next up is Bad News Eagles taking on Eternal Fire. It's the darling underdogs from Kosovo. They take the big stage for the first time in the major against the Turkish side. We needed all 30 rounds in this match, and it was close the entire way through. Synopsy, he would lead the Bad News Eagles with 26 kills to a 16-14 victory on Dust 2. They're looking to make a name for themselves, and they got started on the right foot here in Antwerp. Reigen would add 24 frags as well, even though Woxic would challenge with 23 kills in a losing effort. They just start the major 0-1. Ragan and Ceneri were absolute beasts. They were finding opening kills in ways that barely made any sense. Look at the way they open up this bomb site, this B bomb site. There's that one here. Look how fast this one is. Poor guy never had a chance. Bad News Eagles, they are not always pretty, but they hit real hard. They can shoot the weapons very well, obviously. It's going to be fun to discover what they're made of throughout the major as they continually get challenged. So if you want a fun team to follow throughout the major, make sure you're tuning into this, guys. I think everyone's pulling for them on some level, and at least they're getting things started out 1-0. We'll see how far they can take it. You can see the celebrations here as they're absolutely loving life. People who aren't loving life, Team Liquid, North America's darlings, are going to take a stab at G2 to start their bid. The G2 squad's been up and down to start the year. Obviously, impressive run back in Katowice, a little bit rough over at EPL, but things in this match just didn't go well for Liquid. G2's trio of Nico, Hunter, and m0NESY were firing on all cylinders. They ended the first half 13-2 scoreline. No chance for a comeback. Nico even busted out some of his trademark tapping. It made for an easy march to victory in the second half. 16-6 win for G2. And to be honest with you, not even really a whole lot of positive takeaways for Team Liquid. It's a miserable way to start their bid at the major, and they're going to have to do some recovery later on in the second stage of Swiss system, or even over towards tomorrow. I mean, this is filthy from Nico. I don't know what you're supposed to do against this, but what an absolute monster. What a great way for him to start off the major. Spirit taking on Imperial. FNX is back, baby. Homeboy's undefeated at majors. He's lifted the championship trophy each and every time he's competed on Counter-Strike's biggest stage. This Antwerp major, gonna be a huge test. Probably an impossible test for FNX to be able to continue that record and keep that going. Imperial were favorites coming into this, but the Russian squad had different plans. Spirit actually played a very good game, surprising, I think, everyone. 25 kills for Patsy, 24 kills for Dexter, who had some absolutely fantastic moments. Spirit is going to walk away with a 16-6 victory, and really not a chance for Imperial as they get a slow start. Outsiders versus MIBR would be the next match of the day. Lots of curious eyes on Outsiders as they kind of have that dead team aura around them. Yekindar, the star players, publicly announced he's open to offers after the PGL major ends. That's going to add a new element of danger to an already dangerous team. Good close affair here. Jodo would lead MIBR on a late comeback attempt. They would end up falling short in 30 rounds as Kickert logs a big game with 26 frags to start off his performance at the PGL major. And poor MIBR, all that work to come all the way at the end just to drop the ball, as we've seen so many times. 1-0 for Outsiders. Fours versus Renegades, 16-9 victory for Fours over the Australians, who couldn't really get anything going. 13-2 first half for them. Astralis taking on IHC. Nice easy victory here for Astralis. They had a nice blast group stage coming into this. They blow out IHC, and ENCE looks poised to make a deep run at the major. They didn't have to break a sweat versus 9Z. Man, it was a long opening Swiss system at the PGL Major. That was just the opening one. Teams at this point would take a break, they would regroup, they would have some conversations, and obviously we'd get a new draw for the second stage of that Swiss system, see what kind of matchups teams were going to come into, and everyone was going to have to recover. You can see here what the schedule was going to be. Obviously some exciting games, but the cherry on top of the proverbial ice cream sundae is that Astralis versus Vitality. We're going to have to wait a little bit before we get there. Plenty of other action took place in Antwerp as teams are still jockeying for a position throughout the challenger stage. First matchup in the second set of Swiss system group stage games, it's going to be G2 taking on Spirit. And Spirit, man, they came into the day with a little bit of pep in their step. This clash of 1-0 squads looked to be a blowout. G2 was monstrous to start out the game. At one point, they were up 14-4. And then at one point, they were up 15-8. And then at a certain point, you started getting vibes back to that collapse back in Katowice. It was tied 15-15. Spirit would bring it all the way back as G2's offense fell completely flat in the second half. The favorites, though, they would figure out a way to win in the end as G2 would win in overtime, 19-17. The cousins Kovac would combine for 57 kills. Now, a win is a win, but this one did little to assuage anyone hopeful that the wrinkles in G2 would get ironed out before the major began. I think way more worrying signs for G2 than positive ones, as this was way too close for comfort against a team that they should have been comfortable favorites against. All right, Complexity versus IHC. I had to put this one in the video because it was not a good day for North American Counter-Strike, and I think North American fans deserved a little bit of positivity in their life, a little bit of positivity in their day, because I think day two is going to be even rougher for them. Fang had 26 kills. Server was led by Blitz with 28. The Mongolians would put up an admirable fight, but would eventually fall 13-16. Complexity end their day 1-1. Better than Team Liquid, better than their brethren of Team Liquid, but nobody's happy. Nobody's celebrating, and I don't think this gave anyone any kind of excitement for the North American squads for the rest of this major. It's looking like both of them are poised for some early exits. From one North American side to the other, Team Liquid had a rough opening day of the PGL Major. I mentioned Complexity would have a better job at 1-1. Liquid's going to go 0-2. After a drumming by G2, they face off against former teammate Fallen as he tries to last dance his way into the Legends stage. But this match was all fur. He had 27 kills, 110 ADR, a 1.78 rating to shock Team Liquid as Imperial. You never would have thought it. The last dance meme was exactly that. It was just a meme. However, this upset puts him on the map, puts him in a good chance going into day number 2. This is a massive upset, and you have to imagine Team Liquid themselves are going to be upset after a loss like this. I'm not quite sure how they're going to be able to bounce back. They head into day number 2, 0-2. Rough times for North America. ENCE taking on Outsiders. And ENCE has been one of the coolest teams to watch in 2022 leading into the major. Grand finals of ESL Pro League, qualified just a week ago to the Blast Spring Finals. Now they set their sights in the PGL Antwerp Major. If you don't know this team yet, now is the time to learn because you'll likely be seeing them in the playoffs. Not a single speed bump today for the international squad as they handle business 16-6. They go 2-0 in the qualification matches. Snappy has this team playing so well, and it's a team effort. Spinks has his land buff. Hades is performing really well. Diha had some fantastic entries. This team is firing on all cylinders. And finally, we get to the end, the one we've all been waiting for, Astralis versus Vitality, the grudge match. Astralis is taking on a Vitality squad of players who built the Astralis brand with their bare hands. BlameF and ZywOo would go head-to-head for their teams, 25 and 24 kills respectively, but a great offensive half from Vitality would propel them to a second victory on the day. It was 16-8. A bit anticlimactic for my taste, but it's really, really nice seeing Vitality actually log a good performance and live up to the hype. Eternal Fire, meanwhile, was able to beat down Renegades and put them one step closer to being sent all the way back to Australia. Forz versus Bad News Eagles, the emotional, heartwarming story and underdogs. We all love them. Forz was simply too much. Norway drops 30 kills for them. MIBR versus 9Z. All Brazilian affair ends 16-14 in the favor of MIBR. And oh boy, that was a long day. I'm already running out of breath as well. The first day of the major is like Christmas come early. A long day, a good day today means great games, and a great day tomorrow for the Counter-Strike as well. Absolutely brutal for some of these teams, absolutely wonderful for some of the other ones. But let's check out the schedule that you're going to be seeing coming into day number 2 tomorrow. As you can see here, a lot of fantastic matchups. The BO3s are going to begin. We're going to send 2 teams home. We're going to send 2 teams forward to the Legend stage. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you set your alarms. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back after the day is over with this recap all over again. We'll see you there at the HLTV recap show presented by GG Bet.